Hello, and we are back now with Quantum Love Radio on CKLU FM 96.7. I'm your host, Miranda Rocca Tricelli, and my very special angel guest is Lynn Filion. And we're talking really about communicating with angels and giving people more insight into how to be more open with hearing the messages that are readily there for you. And you really just have to open your mind and open your heart to hearing these beautiful messages. And I personally am a huge advocate for, telling people to listen and to ask their angels for messages and support, because I have gotten so many messages that, if anyone wants to say, it's a coincidence, it is beyond coincidences. It is absolute real, because they are always on point with what I'm asking. So I just want to recap one important thing, and then I want to ask Lynn, I know we're going to talk about chakras and energy, but I want to recap that it's so important for people to understand that if you want to talk to your angels and you want a message, you have to always ask.
You have to always ask, and you don't have to do a special invocation.
Okay.
Just, Archangel Michael, please help me with this. I'm having such trouble understanding. Please show me something that I need to know so I could take this easier, or I could, do what I need to do. And they'll come. Total faith, and you'll get the message. And I also want to say something. There are times where if you're calling somebody on the phone and you ask them for help, do you hang up right away? No, you wait for an answer for them.
Yeah,
okay? So
don't
it's very
give up.
important to not give up and to be open to the answer.
You know what, it's funny that you say that too, and that's the whole ego and expectation where, for me personally, when I've, for example, I've asked my Nona, who passed away about a month and a half ago, for messages, and I remember when we were going to clean her house, and I said, Nona, just send me a message that's so obvious that I'll know it's from you. And I didn't set any expectation or limitation. And so when we went to clean out her house and whatever, immediately, I didn't get any message. And I thought, well, you know what? I'm going to be patient, because I can't put a timeline on when I'm going to get this beautiful message. And sure enough, I'd say about 3 days later, we were sitting outside. I was with my children, and the message came in terms of a butterfly. And the butterfly became our pet for about an hour. And butterflies don't usually do that. And I was able to transfer that butterfly from one child to the other to myself about 100 times.
Wow.
And it would sort of flutter away, and then it would just come back and sit on one of their fingers, and then it would sit on their face, and it just stayed there for an hour. And my husband kept coming outside, and he was just astounded, because he's like, butterflies don't usually do that.
They don't. And
for a whole hour, and I have pictures and a video, and it was just so magical. And when I told my family about this, there were just all these, synchronous events that my sister said, she'd given my daughter, that night we went for a barbecue, and she gave my daughter a sticker of a butterfly. And I said, oh my God, that's the same butterfly that we were playing with.
Wow.
And of course, what does my sister say? Well, when we were cleaning out Nona's house, I found this little strip of butterfly stickers.
That is so amazing.
Isn't that cool?
That excites me.
I know.
Woohoo!
Well, because it shows people that it's not, and even more to that, when I called my mom that day, and I said, you're never going to believe what just happened. I said, I'm going to send you some pictures. And my mom said, oddly enough, she was having lunch with her sisters, and they were talking about the butterfly release that was happening at the hospice and how they wanted to be part of it. And this was all within few hours of each other. And I said, so, that just validated the message that was so obvious, because I asked for a very obvious message that you could have mistaken it for a coincidence.
Exactly.
And so I think that, I forget what I was watching the other day. I think I forget what it was. But anyways, it was said that when people pass on to that other life, that they're there to be with us even more than they were. When
they get to the other side, their ego falls away. So they can love you 10 times more than it's uncomprehendable to us. I actually felt my grandmother's love from the other side, and it just made me cry. It was instant tears, because I was actually able to go in the house where I used to go visit her. I had done a reading for this lady last year, and I told her, you're going to start your own business. That's how
it's okay, we're getting excited here.
Sorry.
That's all good.
And So in October, I was going to go to this program where you start your own business.
Okay.
Who's sitting there? That lady that I told her she's got to start her own business. And so we talked. She said, I would like you to do a reading for me and my friend. I said, okay, call me tonight and we'll do it.
Okay.
So I went for lunch with my friend, and all the way from the corner of Kingsway to my house, I smelled a tobacco pipe.
Okay.
And I asked my friend, did you smell that? She says, no. I said, well, you can't miss it. It's so strong.
It's so strong, yeah.
So I was like, okay, well, then I guess that's for me. So that night when she called me, she told me I live at such and such a place, and that is exactly where my grandmother lived. My grandpa.
No. Isn't that beautiful?
That is so beautiful, and they come like that all the time. You just have to be open.
You have to be open to receiving those messages.
Exactly.
Because they are just, even this conversation we're having, it's just so heartwarming, because we need guidance sometimes. We let our ego get the best of us, and sometimes we're just confused. We need to know that we need that validation.
We need to know we're on the right track in life.
That's right. And you just need to ask, and it's validated everything that I've ever done. So let's talk a little bit more about knowing when you're on the right track, because I think a lot of people are in a place in their life where whether they don't like their job or they have these amazing talents that they're not using. So for yourself, how did you know you were on the right path, that angel card readings and communicating with angels and helping people live better lives was part of your journey?
Well, I've always been a person that is giving and loving. I've always loved to help people.
Okay.
If I'm at a grocery store and I see a little old lady struggling, it's not even a thought. I just go and help. Okay, that's how I am. I'm there like that naturally. So when I started on this, just seeing the spark in somebody's eye that they're not stuck anymore, or you've touched their lives, and that you've made their day, and they know where they need to go now. They know what they need to do. They have, okay, this is what's wrong. This is what I need to do to fix it. And it's like, yay, great.
You've given them that
extra little something. Yeah. And it's like, sure, when you read, there needs to be an exchange of energy with the money.
That's right.
I totally get that.
Yeah.
But the cherry on top is knowing that you helped.
Oh, 100%.
That is, to me, that means the world.
So I think that's really important for people to understand, because a lot of people think that, whether, we label our passions sometimes as hobbies, because they're things that we love to do, but we're not getting, compensated financially for it. And I think it's important for people to understand that if you have a talent, if there's a passion that's lying deep within you that you need to uncover, because you've probably discovered it and then you buried it deep because you thought, no, I have to go to work because I went to school for this, or I got a job doing this, but I'm not very happy, that you can 100% monetize your passion. And when you start to do that, it's we have this wrong, conditioning that we believe that monetizing a hobby or passion is bad. But the reality is, like you mentioned, there has to be always an exchange. There has to be value added to both people that's mutually beneficial. Exactly. And when you're not, in our day and age, in our society, it's money. Money is the way that we exchange for goods. We're not, we don't trade for things anymore, although some people still do. But that's where someone is going to get value in what, the service they're getting. So It's important for people to learn that monetizing their passion is okay. And in fact, it's most likely the journey you need to be on. If you have a talent or something you love to do, throw it out there and start monetizing.
Well, the thing is, if you do what you love for a living, you'll never work another day in your life. You're just going to be happy. And then the thing is, you're going to be happy doing what you're doing. You're going to come home. You're going to be happy. And it's going to be a domino effect, because your energy will spill on to your spouse, will spill on to the children. Mm-hmm. They will be happy because you're happy.
Well, yeah.
And it just keeps on going. Then they go to your friends. It's infinite. They just kind of keep on going.
And we have to say the same thing is true when you're unhappy.
Exactly.
And that's where, so if you're unhappy in whatever you're doing and you're bringing that home,
it comes out that way. And
especially, I'm a parent. I have 3 small children, and one of our episodes we were talking about the energy that children feel. Yes. And that's where they get their conditioning, is through that energy.
Actually, they're even more sensitive than we are.
100%. And so if you're unhappy and you're taking that home because you don't love what you do and you feel that you have so much more to offer this world. And even for me personally, I struggled for some time because I felt that I wasn't doing what I needed to do on this, I wasn't following my purpose.
Yes.
And I hadn't really discovered my purpose. And so that was really frustrating for me because I knew I had gifts that I could share with the world.
Yes.
I just, the who, what, where, when, how wasn't clear to me. And it really wasn't until I probably started talking to my angels, started asking for clear messages as to where I need to go. And things just fell into place.
Exactly.
And so let's talk a little bit about the energies, because now that we're on to that subject, let's talk a little bit about chakra energies and aura energies. So I'll let you kind of...
Okay, well, I'll begin by speaking about chakras. There are 7 major chakras in our body that allow energies to come in. You have your crown chakra, which is where you think. You've got your third eye, where you see visions. You've got your throat chakra, where you speak, and then your heart, where you love. Your solar plexus is underneath your heart chakra, and this is where you feel your power or your gut feelings, and it's also where you feel less worthy of things.
Okay.
Your sacral is right about 3 inches underneath your belly button, and that's your sacral, and that's where you get your playfulness and you like to have fun. You'll feel it there. The butterflies in your stomach, that's where you feel them.
Got it.
Okay, and then you have your base chakra, and that's where you'll feel your personal needs are being met.
Okay.
Like money and a roof over your head and clothing and all that kind of stuff. That's where that is.
Okay.
So, and I've developed this new gift, and basically I was told by another reader at the tree called Sharon Alkenbrecht. And
she's awesome. She'll be on our show soon.
She's so amazing. So anyways, she's explained to me through her guides, this is what I need to do. So basically, there's 2 ways that I could read this. One of them is I could put my hand on somebody else's, and I read their chakras through my chakras. I could feel if somebody has friends that are stabbing them in the back, I'll feel it in my back.
Okay.
If I feel like there's a pot stirring in their head, they're thinkers.
Okay.
Like they're always thinking. Okay. If I see indigo, I know that they have psychic abilities.
Okay.
I know that through if they keep back, they don't speak.
Okay.
I'll feel like something's coming up in their mouth and it's going right back.
Okay.
So they don't say.
Cool.
Just different things like that. I feel like people always have cords attached to others. If they're not good, I can actually go in and cut them with the help of Archangel Michael.
Okay.
And it just goes on and on like that. It's amazing. It's such an amazing gift. And another way that I could read this is if you write somebody's name on a piece of paper, I'll put it in my hand and I'll feel it. And then I'll just describe what they are. I say, here you go. This is this person. You're going, oh my gosh. It's so accurate.
Well, I think people need to understand, too, everything is energy.
Exactly.
And the more people understand energy, my background is, I have degrees in science. So, and I always wondered, why I pursued that route. But it allowed me to understand science from, energy from a factual standpoint. And the reality is everything is energy, from the tiniest little particles. Everything is made up of the same essence.
Exactly.
And so when we understand how that works and how everything is in motion, everything's vibrating all the time, every molecule, particle, everything is vibrating, and it's all vibrating at a certain frequency.
Yes.
And so depending on that frequency, that's what you're feeling.
Yes.
And it's just like this radio is tuned into a certain frequency.
Actually, that is so cool. That is so cool, because I wrote a write-up about what I'm going to do.
Okay.
And I actually use the radio station that has a certain frequency. Everybody else has their own frequency. Every chakra has a frequency.
Yeah.
So I just pick up on that. It's like a mechanic that could put his hand on a car with the engine running, and he'll know what's working, what's not working.
That's right, just based on the vibrations of that machine.
Exactly. That's exactly how that works.
And so it's not, for people who think, oh, it's way out. It's not, because if more people are in tune and they work as you do to get better in tune with feeling those energies, and I try to explain to people, if you go somewhere and you get a certain feeling, or whether you're uncomfortable or you're feeling good, so that's, you're feeling energy, because just because you can't see the air you're breathing doesn't mean you're not breathing it. So people
it's an absolute truth.
That's true.
Just like angels are absolute truth. Whether you believe in them or not, they're still there.
Exactly. And just because you can't see them doesn't mean they don't exist. And so energy works the same way. Some people are just more in tune to feeling those vibrations than others. And so, and because you work with it, just like anyone who has a certain skill, they work at it. They get better at playing piano because they practice it. You practice feeling those energies.
Exactly.
And so, and that's just to validate anyone who's out there saying, well, it's all energy. And some people are more open to feeling it than others. And I love that you help people understand what's going on around them, because I always say we're in this day and age of we're the modern zombie where, most people, everyone can feel energy, but most people don't.
Exactly.
And it's only because they don't want to stop to smell the roses. They don't want to stop to feel it. And you help give people a better understanding of what's going on around them so they can start to stop and feel it.
Well, that's the whole thing, is because I feel like people in these days, they're not... It's almost like as if they're not living.
No, they're not. They're zombies.
They're zombies. They're just doing. And it's like, stop a minute. Feel things. Feel. And some people, I feel, are afraid to feel. And fear is part of the ego. The acronym for fear is false evidence appearing real. I still have fears, but I've decided...
I like that. False evidence appearing real.
That's Beautiful. What it is. And I still have fears, but I made a decision last year that I kick fear.
Out the door, yeah.
Out the door. Yeah. And so it's like, you know what? Sure, I'm afraid of this, but you know what? I'm going to go ahead and charge it. And once you've gone through it, it's like, I did it. Yes.
It's funny that you mentioned that, and I'm just going to take a quick little aside here, because if anyone has seen the movie Frozen, Disney's new movie Frozen, which I've seen about 100 times because my kids won't stop watching it, that is the perfect paradox for people to understand how fear works. And I love that Disney created that movie, because the underlying story is really, when you're trapped in fear, nothing good will come out of it. And when you embrace love, you can, you embrace creation, you embrace living life. And the whole story is, the one girl who has these beautiful gifts, she's scared of her gifts, and because of that, she creates these menacing structures and basically lives in this restricting mind of fear.
Exactly.
And until she realizes that love is really what she needs to embrace her gifts, once she does that, she creates beauty with her gifts. And so it's just such a paradox that people just need to really understand that it's exactly what you said. Get out of the fear and get into the love.
I can't stress that more. My life has been amazing since I've done this. I look back even 3 months or 6 months ago, and I've changed because I haven't let fear get caught up with me and just doing the things I need to do. People just get so stuck.
They do, and I think that's why it's so important to have people like you who have these talents, that you can help put people back on the right track. And whether it's through, I always say, the universe has my back, and the angels are right behind that. And so whenever you need some sort of guidance, they're there to give it to you. And if you're new at this and you're not sure, I think that the gifts you have, you help make it obvious. You help present those messages in such a clear way that people can understand, okay, I was questioning this, now I know what I need to do in my journey and what my purpose is, and I can keep going in that route.
What I really love about angels is that they're very gentle.
Yes.
And people are not as afraid of that than they are somebody just going, just kind of telling you something out of the blue, and you're going, oh my goodness, how do you know that? The angels just kind of go really nice and gentle, and they I was going to say cajole you out of thinking that things are not this magical. And another thing I love about angels, that they make you almost childlike, because you're just in awe of everything in your life, and it's like, woohoo.
No, you are, and I think it's so, when you start to be open to the messages that they have for you, and you ask for them and you readily are receiving them, you start to live this amazing life where you take things in more, because you're so open and you're so open-minded and you're open heart and you've opened your soul, that you just start to stop and smell the roses, and you start to live in the now instead of worrying about tomorrow and dwelling on the past. You can start to enjoy that present state.
I think that's one of the best things that people could do for themselves is to live in the now.
Yes.
You know, if you're having a moment with your children, stay in that moment. Don't worry about what's coming or what was. You just stay there. Or if you're with a loved one, same thing. You just enjoy that moment. It's so important.
It is.
Because we're so busy just kind of doing everyday life thing that it's like we just lose out on all the good things that are coming.
They do, and people don't realize that if you start enjoying the moments you're in,
the more moments are going to get.
Moments you're going to get that feel good, right?
Exactly.
So it goes both ways. If you're sitting there and you're feeling sorry for yourself, well, you're going to get more moments that help you feel sorry for yourself.
Well, I'm a true believer that gratitude is the key to abundance.
100%.
And abundance, I don't only mean money. I mean
life.
Good health and life and friends and whatever. And to me, I like to start my day with, I'm grateful for me because this life is about me. So I'm grateful for me and all my qualities and my gifts and blah, blah, blah. And then I go, I'm grateful for my friends and my life teachers and whoever. Then I'm grateful for my things, and once you're done all that, you're like a walking light.
You are.
And people look at you and they go, whoa, what's up with you today?
Yeah,
it's like,
it's true.
I'm just happy.
And that is said so many times in so many programs that gratitude is really the key. And I do the same thing day and night. And sometimes I even hug myself, because I'm grateful for me.
Exactly.
And like you said, you have to be grateful for you and the qualities you have because that you're you.
Exactly.
And it's important to embrace those. And I go through the list of the things I'm grateful for. And when people start this activity, I tell them, start with the obvious things. Be grateful for the fact that you can see beauty. Be grateful for the fact that you can smell good food. Just the small things that we take for granted. And it just gets you on that state of, I feel good. It just helps you start your day on such the right foot.
And the thing is, once you start on this is how the universe works. It goes, look how Miranda is so grateful for all the things she has. Let us give her more for her to be grateful for. And the more she's going to be blessed. And the more she's going to notice that, the more she's going to be grateful for things. And it's just continues.
I know.
It's like so amazing.
It is, and it's not to say that you don't have bad days.
No, you don't. You do.
You do. So. And one of the universal laws is, the law of, I think it's the law of rhythm, where things go up and down, right?
Exactly. And
so you're going to have days that you're going to doubt things, but you're going to know that tomorrow is tomorrow, and tomorrow's a new day, and you're going to feel good again tomorrow. And everything that goes up, it flows. It flows. You're going to have bad days, and it's not to say that you're not doing anything wrong, or it's just we sometimes get stuck.
Exactly. And the thing is, what I like to do is if I'm having a rough patch, the greatest thing to do is to say, okay, what am I supposed to learn from this? Instead of saying, why me? What am I supposed to learn from this?
Turn the why into a what.
Exactly. So it's like, okay, this is a lesson. Now, okay, what do I have to work with? And it's always okay to ask your angels for help.
100%.
It's always good. So, it's all about learning.
It is. And it's so funny how we resist that. I remember even at first when I started my journey in understanding angels and, everything I read was, well, you have to ask. And it's true. There is a free will where, you need to ask because they cannot impose upon you anything. You have to ask. And that goes with all of us. There's a free will. No one should impose anything upon anyone. There should always be, the willingness to accept and learn. But, you just, sometimes your ego gets in the best of you and you think, no, I'm not going to ask. I don't need help. And we all do that.
That or I'm not worthy of help.
Yes.
As soon as you say I'm not worthy of help, well, that's when you're putting a block there. And it's
and everyone can be the smartest and the most successful people. Everyone can use help. And when we say help, it doesn't mean that you, like you said, you're not worthy or you're inadequate and you need support. It just means you want a light to shine on you to help you continue being successful, to help you. Sometimes you just need a little bit of insight, a little bit of, just something that's going to help you to that next level.
It's like, okay, I'm here. I need to know what I'm going to do next. I need a little something.
That's right. And there's nothing wrong with asking for that because it has nothing to do with ego. It doesn't mean you're not good enough. It just means sometimes you just need a little something to help you along.
And it makes life so much easier.
It does.
I mean, who who likes to struggle?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I think people get addicted to the emotions and the struggle, right?
And the drama.
And it goes in a circle. Just like, when you have addiction to anything, it's a vicious cycle that people need to get out of. And so people get stuck in the feeling sorry for themselves. They get stuck in all, and we've all been there.
Yep.
And, I only speak from my own personal experience.
Yes.
And what an amazing journey when you can step out of that and start to live in the now. And it really only started when I started talking to my angels and asking for messages. And it was amazing.
It is.
At what you get, because it really helps you along the most righteous path.
And I feel like angels give us a lot of confidence, especially when we're going to be going through changes. Mm-hmm. I just want people to know that they are so supported through changes, because a lot of us don't like change, and it's like totally
90% of the people I think resist it.
Exactly, they resist it. But if they knew that they have like total amazing an army of angels behind them, supporting them, say you could do it, okay, then I could do this.
No, it does. It gives you that. It does give you that confidence, and you just get that feeling within you.
Yes.
And I've had this so many times whether I've had to do, a public event, or I've had to do something where, you're a little bit nervous and you're unsure of the outcome, but you ask for support from the angels, and every time has given me the confidence to basically, perform so successfully that it just gave me more confidence for the next event and the next thing.
Exactly.
And it's from asking, and I always ask for the support of my angels.
So basically it's line upon line, precept upon precept. Once you've done one thing, then you could go to the next, then to the next. There's something I'd like to speak about to the listeners, is that we have guardian angels, and then there's archangels.
Okay.
Now, archangels...
I guess we should have talked about the different...
Yes. The archangels are very, very huge, powerful angels.
Okay.
And they have their own dominion. Archangel Raphael is the angel of healing and also the angel of travel.
Okay.
Archangel Michael is the angel of life purpose. He's the angel of protection. He's also the angel of mechanics. If you guys out there are having troubles with your car, I've actually asked someone to help with their motorcycle, and it started in 10 minutes. Electronics, Archangel Shamuel. He's the one that helps to find things. Lost my wallet, found it 2 days later. My money was gone, but didn't matter. I had my wallet back. And Archangel Gabriel, like I said earlier, is the angel of communication and arts. And there's Jophiel, is the angel of beauty. If you need something that just shine their beauty on something for you, go ahead and do it. If you're on a first date, ask for it to go well. Name it. They're there to help you, and you just need to Google, and you'll get the names that you need.
And it's honest to God, every time I've ever asked for support, for safety, for protection, for love, for guidance, it always has come to me without a single... sometimes it doesn't come to me immediately, but I don't put any timelines on it, and I get it when I need it. And so that's the end, and I don't give up in expecting to see something. Exactly. I don't know what, but I don't give up and say, no, well, if it's not today, it'll come to me when, and it always comes to me.
It's all about divine timing.
It is.
I'm still learning that one.
No, it is, and I've always said that if it comes to you in any other time, then it's not part of your divine purpose, exactly. And it won't be exactly what you need it to be to get to that place in your life that you want to go to.
I just wanted to say there's another way that angels communicate through us, and it's through music, through hearing things. I know that I had a new car last October, and I couldn't play my CDs on it because they were scratched.
Okay.
So they kept on skipping. So, okay, I got to listen to the radio. So I listened to the radio, and there was a song, Sweet Caroline, came on twice. On a Wednesday and on a Thursday, and I'm saying, okay, I know that's a message. So what is it that Caroline is trying to teach me? Because I have a friend named Caroline.
Okay. So
I went on her Facebook, and I had to go look at what she had on there, and there's a story that came up, was a pebble in your shoe. So I'm reading this, and she goes, what's a pebble in your shoe in your life? What does it feel like to have a pebble in your shoe? It's annoying. It hurts.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. What's a pebble in your shoe in your life? And I really had to go look and see, okay, what is it? And it was I'm not afraid to say it. It was my body image. So it's like, either, Lynn, you do something about it, or you accept it.
That's right.
2 days later, I go to the tree, and the owner gave me a reading, and I got a card from the Power Flower Therapy pack, and it said, let your inner light shine. Don't worry about what media says about beauty, and that you're perfect exactly the way you are. So, accept I am. And the way it is.
And it's that, it's kind of like connecting the dots that people don't realize that the messages will come to you in such a crazy... You could have never predicted that you would get that...
Exactly.
That synchronicity in your life, and it just came to you in those ways, and I think it's happened, it's happened to me so many times. So let's take another quick little break, and then we'll come back. We're talking with Lynn Filion, and I think that this is such a magical discussion because it really, I think, puts in perspective other people's experiences where they've just discounted them as coincidences or just whatever, that, I think through our examples, maybe people will open their mind to hearing, more messages from their angels and help them to, live better lives.
Exactly.
So we'll be right back, and we'll keep talking with Lynn. Hi, everyone, and you're back with Quantum Love Radio on CKLU 96.7 FM. I'm your host, Miranda Rocca-Tricelli, and I'm here with Lynn Filion. And I don't know if anyone else is feeling the same as I'm feeling, but I'm feeling so great that we're having this discussion about angels and communicating with angels, and just how beautiful it is when you're open to hearing and receiving messages from our guided angels. We talked a little bit about the different ranks of angels, and we have archangels, we have guardian angels, we have all these different ranks of angels, and maybe in order for people to get a better understanding of that, and I know, maybe for some people, this is still a touchy subject, and, we use the term reincarnation.
Yes.
But the reality is, this isn't your first... Any of us, it's not our first time here. We've been here many times before. We've had past lives, and we continue to return in order to learn lessons.
Yes.
So that at some point we get to that enlightenment stage where, we finally get that major aha moment where everything, in all our lives have made sense. So maybe you could talk a little bit about that.
Okay. I'm going to talk about this because I think it's really cool. Back, I think it was the year 2000, I really started having a love for lighthouses.
Okay.
And actually, the ocean. I've never been, but I know I love them.
Okay.
It was just like so overwhelming. Every time I would see one, I was like, oh my gosh, my heart just feels it. Mm-hmm. And I found out through past life regression that I was a lighthouse keeper.
Oh, cool.
And there are people that were in my life that are still in my life because I didn't learn a lesson. And it was really cool. I have friends that are afraid of swimming, of water, and they don't understand why. Well, I know that they've drowned in a past life, so they are afraid to go in that water. So, if we can wrap our mind around that, and why you look at someone and you say, I feel like I've known you forever.
Chances are you met some other time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that happens so often, even just by looking in your eyes. It's like, oh my goodness, I feel like I know I've had you. You're either in a past life or you're part of my soul group that I chose to have with me to go through my life and to experience things. Mm-hmm. It's really awesome.
I think that's I have this book that's for my children. It's by, oh my goodness, Conversations with God author.
Neil Donald.
Yes, that's it. And it's called The Little Soul, and it talks about how, it's really cool. It talks about how, the little soul before they came to this beautiful place, and it's just beautiful and magical, and I think that puts it into perspective that, we do plan out our journey, and some people call it, your destiny, or, there's other labels for it, but, you come here with a purpose.
Well, I know that even though my childhood was really, really rough, I know that I chose my parents, and I chose for them to do the things they did to me in order for me to be able to help others. Mm-hmm. And I'm able to help this. I have more compassion. I have more understanding of life. And I needed to have these experiences in order for me to do what I do.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
And if I feel like if people could wrap their minds around that, mm-hmm. that is just amazing. I'll give you an example. My sister lost her son last May to suicide. He was 27. Mm-hmm. And yeah, she had a rough year, mm-hmm. but do you know what she wants to do? She wants to help people. that are going through the suicide thing. So if she hadn't gone through that, this is her life purpose. This is what she needs to do. And her son volunteered to be that person to go through this.
Well, I think that in itself is such a hard thing for people to understand.
I know it's difficult, but
we all come here with this great purpose, and I agree that when we have certain life circumstances, they're part of that journey, and we need to learn how to embrace them, good or bad, because there's something beautiful in everything.
There is, most definitely.
And it can definitely help you help others. It could definitely, from the most painful experiences to, there's so many different degrees that, even for me, I wouldn't be here trying to help other people live great lives if I hadn't gone through the journey that I gone through. So
that is so amazing.
So everybody has that. They just have to find it.
Exactly.
Let's talk a little bit. Well, actually, I asked Lynn on the break if she wanted to do a live reading. Maybe before we do that, you wanted to talk about mirrors.
Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit about mirrors. Everyone is a mirror to each other. If I decide that I'm going to say Miranda is amazing, I have to have amazing in me in order for me to recognize that she's amazing. As well as if I feel I don't like something about someone, it's usually in me too. And this is an opportunity for yourself to work on yourself and say, okay, well, if I don't like that behavior, why would I do it to somebody else? And I need to change it. So it's really cool.
No, it is cool when people understand that. We had a good discussion with Maria Perazzo. We had her on last week. And that was awesome, because she really talked about the whole concept of reflection, and I understand it from my own personal journey and studies that when there's something you don't like about someone, it's usually what you don't like about yourself, because whatever you see in others is a complete reflection of what you see within yourself. And like you said, for the good qualities that you recognize in other people, those are the good qualities. And I find as you start to work on yourself in terms of personal growth and you understand this concept, well, of course, you start to see more good things in others.
Exactly.
And you become less judgmental with yourself.
And more compassionate as well.
That's right. And it's and that is a beautiful thing in itself, because when you think of how you were before understanding and growing and knowing about all this beautiful information, the type of person you were. Not to say you were a bad person, but I'm so happy I'm the person I am today, where I try to see the beauty and have the compassion for people and the understanding, because I want that for myself.
I know that if somebody would ask me today, would you ever change your life to any part of your life, I would absolutely say no.
No, and I completely agree with you.
Because I am who I am today because of that.
And if you're grateful for who you are and everything, and you've embraced your journey, then you're grateful for that journey, good or bad. And I feel the same way, and I'm just so blessed that I've been able to awaken to this understanding, and that I've chosen this path. So it's pretty cool. So I guess we're going to do a live reading, and I told Lynn I don't mind. So I guess Lynn's gonna do her magic.
Okay, so basically I have a deck, and because everybody has energy, I usually knock the energy out of the deck, so that way Miranda will have a reading for her and not for myself. Okay, so I knock the energy out. And because I'm an empath, I could actually feel Miranda's energy. So I'm going to put Miranda's energy on the deck. Okay. What does Miranda need to hear today?
This is exciting.
So I shuffle up until I have a feeling in my heart to stop.
I'm actually quite excited.
I have to laugh.
I can't see the cards just yet, so just in case anyone's wondering, I'm sitting here in great anticipation as well to hear what I need to hear today. But
Miranda spoke earlier about having psychic and spiritual experiences, and the first card actually said that. The card that she got was Ariel, and it says, new psychic and spiritual experiences are changing the way you view the world and yourself. Allow your spiritual gifts to open through study, prayer, and meditation.
Isn't that interesting? And I just so people know, we didn't purposely go through the deck and pull this out.
I didn't do that. I just knocked it, and this was the message for her today.
That's a great synchronicity there.
Rochelle, she talked earlier about following her path and if she was doing the right thing. Rochelle says, as you honor and follow guidance of your heart, prosperity is coming to you now. So this is part of what she loves to do, and she was telling me about how she started working for this other thing, and she says she felt so honored. She had to do that, and she's going to be able to help others there as well. And Crystal says, have faith and hope, because there's something very beautiful and amazing on the horizon for you that you haven't seen yet.
Wow, okay. That's exciting.
Those are the 3 that I got from that deck. Now I'm going to use Return of Spirit cards. Those are amazing cards.
Okay, let's see.
They really uplift people, and they make them see just how wonderful and truly beautiful they are.
I'm so excited.
So, this card that you got is called Immunity. Now, everyone, when we're sick, we kind of get like, we are building up our immunity to any illnesses that are coming.
Okay.
Well, the angels and spirit are trying to tell you now that you are building an immunity to negative energy that may come your way, and that you're so like all your spiritual antibodies are inside you, that you don't need to worry about anything affecting you in negative ways.
You know, it's funny. As I've been sniffling this whole show, I've had a cold for the last 3 days. And of course, you know, my children have it, so I'm always thinking, you know, the little, you know, they've plagued me. And the fact that you just had that card just... Because I always sit there and wonder, why am I attracting this illness? Like, why am I sick? You know? And it's always...
Exactly.
So that's pretty beautiful.
It's funny because if you don't get... When you get a cold, you're building antibodies.
Okay.
And your children are building antibodies to whatever that's going to come their way next, sort of thing. So you're building an immunity to these things. So you're going to be fine.
Okay.
Okay?
That's good to hear. No, that definitely... Very accurate reading. Very accurate. More accurate than the ones I do on myself. So that was really, I have to say thank you for that. And,
you're welcome.
And it really, you know, just gives you insight, just gives you that validation that you're doing the right thing. Or sometimes it'll give you insight into you're not doing the right thing. And so I think people, it helps you along your path.
I want to talk to you about this card a little bit.
Okay. And that's
the Ariel. That's the psychic experience one.
Okay.
Once you start opening to your psychic abilities and your spiritual experiences, you need to share them with others, which you do here, but there are going to be many other instances where you're going to be able to help others with their things, and you're going to be able to awaken them with that as well.
Okay, and that kind of makes sense because I've started a life coaching practice very subtly and kind of, you know, under the table until I really feel the confidence is there. So it just makes sense. Everything just kind of comes together, and I'm starting to really see the light.
I'm so excited for you.
I know,
I'm feeling your energy right now.
My energy.
Really excited.
So let's give everyone your coordinates. So where can people find you when they need you?
Okay. Well, I'm on Facebook under my own name, so you could private message me there under Lynn Filion. I do read at the Tree of Life. That's 227 Regent. The phone number is 671-2000. I can be reached at home. I've got business cards at the Tree if you want to get a card and reach me at home. I'm good there. Email lynn.filion@yahoo.ca. You could send me a message if you want a reading. I do angel card parties. Those are amazing, where usually it's a bunch of women that get together. If I get 8 people or more, the hostess gets a free reading for half an hour.
That sounds fun.
It's so much fun, and people say, "Aren't you drained?" I said, "No," because every time I get one, it's like starting over again. It's like more exciting. It's like, and it's just so amazing to do these for ladies and men even. They're just awesome.
I'm going to also put your coordinates on my website on when I post the recording on YouTube, so you'll be able to find Lynn when you can go to my website, www.howtousethelawofattraction.biz. You can also follow me on Twitter at mompreneurguru. And I will have everything posted so that you can get a hold of Lynn. And this has been so beautiful for myself, and I hope our viewers have enjoyed this just as much as we have, and I hope people start opening their heart and their mind to communicating with angels, because you know what, and if there's something I can leave everyone with, maybe just start small. Ask for something that's so obvious to you that if it happens, it will literally change your mind about being a coincidence. So if you could do that, and just, whenever you can today, ask your angel for some sort of message that's going to be so clear to you. And you can ask a specific person who's passed in your life, or just ask, the angels to help you with something. And be patient with the outcome, and have no expectation on how it's going to come to you, but just keep your eyes and your heart open, and I promise you will be blown away. So if I could leave you with that little message, that's what I'd like everyone to try to do. And and if you get an amazing message, you can even go to my website and email me and let me know what it was, and I'll share it with Lynn, because it's always it's always warming to hear other people's experiences. So
I usually do my happy dance.
Yeah, no, I do, because it feels good, because it just validates our beliefs and our experiences, and it just shows that other people are starting to experience amazing things in life as well. So thank you again, Lynn, so very much.
I would like to take the opportunity to thank you so much for having me here. It was so much fun to share with all of you all the stuff that I do, and I'm looking forward to seeing all of you, and to give you a message, and be patient, and you'll get them.
Yeah, I completely agree. So have a beautiful day, and may the angels be with you all day long.